Okay, this is the second of 9 tests of Valor. It is on chapter 4, and in this test of Valor we have bone scorpions, whom you want to take out first, and then we also have chainsaw bazooka zombies. A UT kill on a bone scorpion nets you 210 essence, and a UT kill on a chainsaw bazooka zombie nets you 1400 in essence, which is a lot. I don't think any enemy besides the death worm gives you more. So, okay, so we primarily are just avoiding the chainsaw bazooka zombies. My experience with these guys is that the further you are away from them, the less of a threat they are. Although a few moments ago you did see I got hit by a couple of their cannonballs. And you might be wondering why I'm not rotating the camera when I'm charging an attack. It's mostly faith-based and just kind of praying that I'm not going to get hit. It's a bad strategy to pass along, but it works. I mean, all you need to do is position yourself away from the chainsaw bazooka zombies, and they're not really a threat. They can be a threat, and they probably will be a threat for you from time to time. But just heal. It's not that hard. We're going to be making a ton of money on this trial. I know that I made at least 100,000, and that's including the Talisman of Rebirth, which is the reward. So we earlier in chapter 4. I know this is an isolated piece of footage, and it's not going to be in the chapter 4 guide. But on chapter 4, which this is right here. You get a Talisman of Rebirth earlier in the stage, so your reward is normally it's a Talisman of Rebirth, but since I already have one, it's going to give me the monetary equivalent of what one costs on Master Ninja mode, namely 50,000 in essence. If you've used your Talisman of Rebirth heretofore, it'll give you a Talisman of Rebirth. So it's pretty simple logic. But there's absolutely no reason you should have used the Talisman of Rebirth. There's just none. Plus, there's 2 of them on the next stage too. I count that there's 2. Some people kind of split it up 5 and 6. But you can obtain the second of the 2 Talismans of Rebirth even on chapter 5 before you fight the boss, the water demon. So I'm using the lunar here. Their essence of the bone scorpion essence pops up right away. You don't have to wait for it to materialize too much, but that doesn't really come into play whatsoever because we're not using their essence to charge attacks, because that would be a wasted amount. That would be wasting money. So okay, so I'm switching to I switched to the arrows right there. And I didn't see it for a while, but eventually I looked up to the right and I noticed that, hell, I only had 1 arrow to shoot. The reason I even equip a projectile, oh yeah, watch out for these guys. They'll guard lock you and maul you to death. They're very deadly. They're one of those enemies that doesn't look very deadly, but they can be. They also have an acid drip move, but that's only when they're hanging from ceilings. And obviously there's no ceilings here. But there will be ceilings when we face these guys after defeating the Bone Dragon later on in the game, in Chapter 6, if I'm not mistaken. So, we really don't need to know much about the Bone Scorpions. They're weaklings, they're fodder enemies, but it is important to know how the chainsaw bazooka zombies work. When I kill all of these bone scorpions and just get these guys out of the way, what I'm going to be doing is going up to each one of the chainsaw bazooka zombies and just throwing 1 incendiary shuriken at him. Now, it's kind of weird. And it's interesting weird. It's not bad weird. It's just that when you delim a chainsaw bazooka zombie, 2 things can happen. You can either divest them of their gun, or you can divest them of their chainsaw. Ideally, you want to divest them of their gun, because that way they're not shooting cannonballs at you. And I honestly, I believe at this point in my playing this game so many times, I believe that you can't manipulate what you want. Even I was shooting arrows like directly at the guns, and some of the times I was robbing these guys of their guns. Sometimes I was shooting like right at the gun, like literally point blank right at the gun, but the chainsaw would fall off. So I think it's a bit random, but what I was getting over here with when I was throwing these incendiary shurikens, pretty much I was getting a lot. I think I got like 5 in a row. I would throw an incendiary shuriken at these guys, and their gun would fall off. And it's pretty simple logic about why you want their gun to go off. You don't want them to shoot you, because if their cannonball hits you, it deals a lot of damage, plus it completely breaks your charge, and then you have to restart your charge. So what I do is, and this wasn't a tactic that I came in here thinking I would do. It was just a moment of improvisation, and it worked really well. There were some kind of highs and lows with success, but anyway, once you get their gun away, they're only a threat if you make them a threat. You make them a threat by getting close to them. So you want to safely position yourself away from them. So there's a $1,400 kill right there. You want to safely position yourself away from one of them. Even if they have their gun, you've got to risk it. Oh yeah, another thing can happen. I guess there's 3 possibilities. Another possibility, if you do an incendiary shuriken, is that they'll lose their legs. So we'll have to see that. Okay, so all the bone scorpions are gone. So see how that guy has no gun. Now I'm going to go over to him. He lost his gun. He just has a chainsaw. He's no threat right now. Then this guy, so that's 2 in a row. Then this is 3 in a row. He lost his gun. Now let's go up to this guy and see what happens. I know this guy lost his gun too. So that's 4 in a row. 4 enemies on this map cannot harm me unless I'm at melee range. So I'm going to do the same thing that I did before. I'm going to kill one of these guys. I'm going to have every one of these enemies just walking around with a chainsaw so they're no threat. And then I'm going to have one spawn one at a time. So let's see what happens. Okay, so in that instance, the guy lost his chainsaw and then he only had the gun. So when they're like that, you've got to take them out. And I actually don't hesitate to just OT them when they're in that status. Because as much as we could be making a lot of money here, but we don't want our monetary gains to be offset by having to use too mmany healing items, because we're going to have to rebuy any healing items that we use. It's just inevitable. So here's a charge right here. I'm going to take this guy out. There may come a time when 2 spawn. That's only because I may at some point kill 2 guys when I don't want to. So I'm going to throw a dagger at this guy. Let's see what happens. He lost. Okay, so there is one of the little things that happens. I threw a dagger at him, and he lost his legs. When they're like that, they're very dangerous, because it seems like their aggression factor even intensifies because they start shooting even more bullets at you. So I don't hesitate. I just go up to them and OT them if they're in that status. So here's the newly spawned guy. I threw a dagger at him, and he went down again. So I'm going to have to take this guy out as promptly as I can. Now this UT right here, I don't think this one killed him. No. Normally it will. Trust me. Normally a UT kill on an enemy like that, in that position, he's going to be killed. So I may have killed 2 guys right there. In fact, it looks like I killed 3 guys. So we have a new batch of spawners over here, and I'm going to have to do the same thing, throwing a dagger at these guys and just see what I get. So, nope, it's a no-go. This guy is dangerous. He needs to be taken out pronto. Another reason I might elect to OT them rather than UT them is if they're close to another enemy. I don't want to kill 2 enemies at one time and have more than 1 enemy respawn. So, here's another situation. So this kind of worked out where I got a lot of enemies losing their chainsaws during this latter part of the video and earlier in the video. Like right when I got all the bone dragons gone, or the bone scorpions, they were losing their guns. So that just kind of shows you how random this whole thing is. But I feel this is a very good strategy for dealing with this. It's yeah, you got to watch out for those. I mean, this is doable even if you don't do my strategy. I mean, your success is not going to hinge on whether you're doing my strategy here. But I thought it was an interesting thing to do, actually. So let's see if this UT kills him. This should kill him. Nope, it didn't kill him. It may take 2 UTs to kill an enemy in that status when they've lost their legs. So I'm gonna have to take this guy out. He's gonna have to go down either with a UT or an OT because I can't have this guy on the map. So I'm just gonna probably OT this guy and just get him out of the way. Yes, I'm losing 1,400 in essence, but I'm not, you know, wasting having to use a healing item. Okay, so that was a good hit right there. The guy lost his gun. Now throw this. Okay, so a lot of these situations occurred towards this latter part of the video. Also, I mean, if you know you're going to get hit by a cannonball, just block. If you're not blocking and you get hit by it, it takes away a devastatingly amount of hits. So it looks like we've got. Let me see. That guy has a chainsaw. This guy has a gun. Gonna have to OT this guy. Oh no, I don't know what happened there. I must have thrown another dagger at him. So at this point, I decided to cast Nimpo at the guys. Only because I knew that once you defeat the Trial of Valor, they always refill your health and refill your key gauge. So now I'm gonna kind of thread my way over here and get a blue essence drop. I'm always looking for the newly spawned enemy. So that was a good use of that right there. It took his gun off. Let's see if this takes his gun off. No, that took the chainsaw off. We don't want that. So I had to resort to an ET right there to save myself. I may not have gotten killed, but you know, why take damage when you know that taking damage might severely harm you? So it looks like I killed 2 guys right there. That means 2 guys are going to spawn, unless we only have a few guys left, which I suspect is the case. But here's a newly spawned individual right there. Throw a dagger at him. Okay, yeah, so 2 guys did spawn. Let's see what happens to him. He lost his gun, which is good, so I don't have to worry about him until later. Now let's see what happens with this guy here. He lost his gun, which is good. So now it looks like we have 4 guys on the map who are no threat at all. And when I say that they are a threat, it's just that, I mean, if one of these guys jumped on me and started chainsawing me, it would be over. But it's so easy to just place yourself safely away from these guys and then do a charge. It's just, it would be a huge oversight of one's skill. And, you know, anyway, so these are the last 2 guys. And I'm just going to take these guys out and collect my 1,400 in essence and get my reward. So this is probably one of the easiest trials, and it's very lucrative, as many of them are. So I think I probably got around 75,000 for all those kills, and then with the addition of the 50,000 that I get from this box up here, that's easily over $100,000. It was probably 125,000 I made. So that's the end of the Test of Valor number 2.